Well, hello there, friends. Look at this old stone right here. This was one of my first times trying to get a good polish, and oh boy, it just wasn't quite ready yet. We could call it a happy little accident, but it sure brings back some memories, though. This was before I had a lap grinder, and the best I could afford at the time was just a Dremel. I remember burning through so much sandpaper discs just to get this guy shined up like this. It has some character with these little hills and valleys, but it doesn't have that beautiful glassy shine we're looking for. But the wonderful news is we can fix it. I'm going to show you how we can take this stone from this to this, just by going back to our 180 grit and starting with a gentle hand. We've all been there. So today, we're going to rewrite that story, give our stone a brand new canvas, and build our way back to a perfect glassy shine with this all-you-need flat lap. Now, let's take a closer look and see what this stone is trying to tell us. If you gently run your finger across it, you'll feel a lot of waves. There's a lot of defects from that sandpaper disc on the old Dremel. And if we hold it up to the light, see how that reflection is just a little bit soft and cloudy and not quite crisp? Those are just little clues that are telling us we need to work on our foundation. Now, if you didn't use a Dremel and you originally started on a flat lap, two things can usually cause this. First, there's probably a little bit of contamination. Sometimes a single stray particle of coarse grit finds its way onto finer lap, and it'll paint some deep scratches that are really hard to polish away. And the second thing is we just may have gotten a little bit too excited and never achieved that truly flat surface to begin with. In our hurry to see the beauty, we might have left subtle low spots from the saw, or from a little uneven pressure. You see, you can't really polish a bumpy surface, and no amount of time on that final pad will make a wavy foundation look like that. Before we get back to our stone, a clean workspace is key. You should always clean your diamond discs after you use them, but just in case you haven't, we'll do that right now. We'll take our discs to the sink for a nice little bath, scrubbing them gently, using water to wash away any old possible grit. Then we'll wipe them completely dry. We never want to let a muddy slurry dry and harden on them. That would be bad times. With our gear all clean and happy, it's time to give our stone a fresh start. We're going to go all the way back to our 180 grit diamond lap. Now, this might feel like we're going backward, but it's the most important step. We just need to gently persuade that lumpy, wavy top layer to go away, so we can create a brand new, perfectly flat world for our polish to live in. And to make sure it's absolutely flat, we'll use maybe the most valuable trick in all of flat lapping, the Sharpie trick. We're just going to paint a lovely little grid on the face of the stone with a permanent marker. Our goal is simple. We're just going to grind until every last trace of that ink disappears. The ink will stay in any of the low spots, like a little helper showing you exactly where you still need to work. With a good water drip going, let's use some firm, even pressure. Just glide the rock back and forth across the whole face of the lap, from the center all the way to the outer edge. This gives us a nice, even grind and keeps our lap happy. Every so often we'll stop, wipe the stone, and check on our progress. Once the entire grid is gone, and only when it's completely gone, you'll know that the surface is completely, perfectly flat, and you're ready to move to the next wondrous step. There we go. The hard work is done. Just beautiful. That perfectly flat surface you just made at 180 grit is the whole foundation for a spectacular polish. From this moment on, All we have to think about is refinement and cleanliness. Before we move on to our next grit, the 400 grit on this all-you-need machine, let's get very particular about being clean. We'll wash our stone, and we'll wash our hands. Any little 180 grit particle that decides to tag along will create a deep scratch that will want to follow you to the very end of our project. Now, here at the 400 grit stage, our only goal is to remove all the scratches left behind by that 180 grit disc. You don't need a lot of pressure here. Let the diamonds do the work for you. Now, we just need to repeat the same peaceful process as we move through the finer grits. The 600 grit and then the 1200 grit. Every single time you change discs, be sure to clean everything, the rock, your hands, the basin, to prevent any cross-contamination. That's sometimes highly overlooked. With each new stage, your pressure gets a little lighter and a little lighter. The goal is always the same: to methodically and patiently remove the scratches from the last stage. After the 12,000 grit, your rock won't be glossy just yet, but it should have a beautiful uniform satin finish. It should feel perfectly smooth, with no deep scratches in sight. If you've got that, you're ready for the final magical step. We did all of our prep work. We were patient, and we were really clean. And now it's time for a little magic. If you've done everything right up to here, this is often the quickest and most rewarding part. Let's switch to a lap with a felt polishing pad. Our polishing compound today is aluminum oxide, mixed with water until it looks like a thin, milky slurry. Here's a little tip. Using distilled water can be a good idea to avoid any mineral scratches from the hard tap water. With the machine at a nice medium-low speed, let's place the rock on the pad. Use very light pressure and just keep the piece moving constantly, like a happy little cloud. Heat is our main concern here. If the rock gets too hot to hold, it can get a thermal shock that might crack it, and we don't want that. If it starts to feel warm, just add a little more water to help cool it down. It's also worth noting, if you're using a dop stick to hold your stone, a 5-minute epoxy tends to hold up to this warmth and friction a little better than dop wax. Just keep gliding that rock across the surface. You'll feel the drag start to increase as the beautiful polish begins to wake up the stone. This might only take a minute or two. Let's clean it up one last time and see what we've created. And there it is. We've went from a happy accident to that perfect liquid glassy shine. Just look at that crisp, clear reflection. Now I know there's a couple of issues on here, and that's due to my red disc. Unfortunately, I need a new one, and I can't quite afford it right now. So I just decided to skip on and keep trucking along. But if you don't have that issue, the difference was all in the preparation. In having the courage to go back to the beginning, taking our time with the coarse grits, and being wonderfully clean. Now that you've seen how we can help a stone find its true shine, I would love to hear from you. What has been your biggest polishing challenge? You can share it in the comments below, and maybe together we can work on it in a future video. And if this little guide helped you today, feel free to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more Lapidary tips. It really does help our little community grow, and I can't thank you all enough for your support of this channel. Remember, the secret to a perfect polish isn't some trick at the very end. It's about being patient and methodical, building that perfect foundation on the coarse grits, and being a good friend to your project by keeping everything clean between those steps. If you can get the coarse grinding right and remove all the previous scratches at the end of the stage, That final polish is the easiest, most wonderful part of the whole journey. Thanks for spending this time with me. Happy lapping and peace and joy to you, my friends.